So, can you guys just tell me in the chat, can you hear me? Okay, thank you so much, Josh. All right, let's go ahead and start. I have turned on record. So in this section, we're factoring. Factoring is the reverse of doing the multiplication. So we're going to go backwards to, it was actually not the last chapter, but the chapter before. When we multiplied polynomials, we did the FOIL, that kind of thing, or distribution. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to go backwards to what we had before we multiplied out. The first technique in factoring is to find the GCF. And so we'll do that first, and then we'll factor. So that's why I picked problem 8. These are really out of order. 8, 9, and 10 should be first in this section. So we're going to do them in that order. And these you're not really factoring yet. You are just finding the GCF. So what's common to all the pieces? So let me write the problem. So we are looking for the greatest common factor, which from now on we'll call the GCF. So we're not really going to factor this one. And I just do it by categories, do numbers, and then do each variable. So for the numbers, what you want is the biggest thing that is common to everything. And so I would start with the lowest number. And does 10 go into everything? And it does not. So it's going to have to be lower than 10. I think a good choice here would be a 5, right? Because these end in 5 or 0. So 5 is common to all. It divides evenly into all of them. For your variables, the variables are easier than the numbers. As long as it's in every piece, you go with the lowest exponent. So 5y cubed, and you go with the lowest so that it's common, right? The biggest thing that's common to every piece. And that should be our GCF. If you have a problem that is really hard and you can't tell what it is, you can always break these to primes. So like I could have done 10, which gives me 2 and 5. 25 gives me 5 and 5. And 35 gives me 5 and 7. And you can only pick what's common, so it has to be in all 3 pieces to use. And so there is your 5 that's in each one. I can't use a 2 because there's no 2's over here. I can't use a 7 because there's no 7's over here. So it has to be in all the pieces. And then that is also why you have to only choose 3 y's. This one has 5, this one has 4, this one has 3, but 3 will be common. So our GCF should be 5y cubed. Good. All right, let's try one more. So we'll do number 9. So all we're doing is picking out the GCF. And we'll do the numbers first. You can probably do it before I get it written down. So we're looking for the greatest common factor. So just do numbers first. Try your smallest. Does it divide into the other 2? It does not. It doesn't divide into either one. So you have to go smaller than 6. Something that goes into all of these. I think 3 is going to be your candidate. You're not going to be able to use a 2 because these are odd. But 3 does go into 15 and it does go into 9. So we have a 3 that's common. For the variables, I have x and everything go with the lowest exponent. For y's, I have y and everything go with the lowest exponent. Right, and if you were stuck, so just to verify, 15 is 3 times 5, 9 is 3 times 3, and 6 is 3 times 2. So there is a 3 in each one, and that's all you can do. All right, so that just verifies for us. This is the answer. All right, so I think we're good with those kind. This one is just going to be similar. And I don't think we need to do that many more of those. Okay, so let's go back to the top, and we'll actually factor some problems now. So to factor means to write as a product. It has to say the word factor, otherwise you don't know what to do. There's not a symbol that means to factor. All right, so so this means to write as a product. When we finish this chapter, we will have several techniques of factoring. And you can always try a GCF on any kind of problem. So that's why we start with that one. And so we need to pick out the GCF here. All right, so we have 42, 42, and 35. Well, 35 is not going to go into those. I think a 7 does, because 7 goes into 35. 35 doesn't have many choices. It has 5 times 7, all right? And 7 does go into these two, so I think we can do a 7. And you can do primes if you get stuck. All right, we do have x in everything. We have to go with the lowest. So that's your GCF. It's going to go outside your parentheses. You're going to do a big parentheses. You'll have as many terms as your problem. And inside the parentheses, you put the missing pieces. What would multiply by 7x to the 4th to get each of these terms? So we'll go term by term for the first one. And if you get stuck on the numbers, you can divide. Right? We have 7. We want a 42. You're missing a factor of 6, or do 42 divided by 7. Gives you 6. For your variables, you have 4 x's. You want 13. So you're going to need 9 more x's. The exponents on the variables will subtract, because when you multiply them, they add. So it's like the reverse. All right, now we go to the next term. You are going to need the sign. So I want a positive 42, so I need positive. 7 into 42 will go 6 times. I have 4 x's, I want 8, so I need 4 more. Right, and then for my last one, I have 7, I want a negative 35, so I'm going to need a negative 5. And I want x to the 4th, and I already have it outside, so I don't need any more x's inside. Okay. So this is factored. That's your answer to the factoring. Factoring has several places where it's nice to check. A check is good if it's fast and if it's easy. To check, you're just going to distribute back. And you can do it in your head, or you can write it. So this is 42, x to the 13th. This is 42, x to the 8th. And this is minus 35, x to the 4th, which is the original, so we're good. Now, that's not the answer, that is just the check. But this is a good kind of problem to check. All right, and we should probably look at the answer to make sure Mrs. H did not mess it up. So good today. All right, let's try another one. Oh, they're going to give us a multiple choice. And this one really should have been with those others at the beginning. All they're asking us to do is find the GCF. So we have 15 x to the 4th plus 21x cubed plus 9x squared. Find the GCF. So it's not a factoring question. So we could test the 9. 9 doesn't work. Go lower. 9 is made out of 3s. So a 3 does go into all of these. For your variables, x's and everything, go with the lowest. So 3x squared. They're trying to trick you up. They're trying to see if you're going to pick just 3x. 3x squared is the right choice. Right, we'll go on to question 3. This one actually is a factor. They want you to factor the GCF out of the polynomial below, but I think they want you to factor the whole thing. Yes, they do. Okay, so the directions, they're not exactly like the rest. They're giving you a hint of what to do. They could just say factor completely, and when you finish the factoring section, that's what they're going to say, is factor completely. All right, but they're giving us a hint here. So 8x to the 5th plus 4x to the 3rd plus 28x squared. All right, when we look for GCF, try your lowest number. 4 does go into 8. Does 4 go into 28? Yes, it does, 7 times. So 4 is your GCF. For your variables, you have x and everything. Take the lowest. So we'll take an x squared. One big set of parentheses. Your parentheses needs to have room for as many terms as you have in the problem. Okay, then you go term by term and see what's missing. So for your first one, you have 4, but you want 8. So you need a factor of 2. You can divide it. 8 divided by 4 is 2. Or just say, what do I need to multiply to get 8? Right, for your x's, you have 2, you want 5. So you need 3 more. On the next one, you have the 4, so you don't need to put it. You have 2 x's, but you would like 3, so you need 1 more x. All right, and our last one, we have 4, we want a 28. You do need the plus there. A 7. You already have x squared outside, and that's all you want, so you don't need any more x's. So that should be our answer. Right, 4. So we have 18w to the 9th plus 30w to the 6th. All right, so 18 and 30. All right, so 18 doesn't go into 30, so we have to go lower than 18. Well, there is a 9 in 18, but that doesn't work. A 6 is going to work. Okay, now this one's a little harder, but that's what goes into both. And then we can do a w to the 6th. All right, and you could do your primes if you are stuck at what to pick. So 6w to the 6th, one set of parentheses, 6 into 18 goes 3 times. You need 3 more w's. 6 into 30 will go 5, and you're good with the w to the 6th. Now, that's the right answer. I am going to do that problem, and I'm going to do it wrong. Okay? I am going to pick something that's common, so I should probably write wrong in case anybody looks at the notes, which we can make it right by the end, but it takes longer. Let's say that I did not see the 6, but I see that there's a 2 in there. They're both even. I spot a 2. So let's say I take a 2, and we won't mess it up too bad. Let's take a w to the 6. All right, and so if I have 2 and I want 18, I need a 9, just divide. I need 3 more w's. All right, 2 into 30 will go 15, and I'm good with the w. All right, if you check it, it's going to work. It's going to match this. The trouble is we left a common factor. 9 and 15 have a common factor of 3. So if you see that, and you often spot it like if you left a variable, you can see a variable, the same one in each one, you'll know you didn't do it all. But if you see something, you can take it out now. So I should have taken out a 3. It'll multiply by this stuff outside, and that would be 6w to the 6, and then pull your 3 out of these. So 3 into 9 will go 3 times, and 3 into 15 will go 5. So you can get to the right answer. It just, like, you get a little tangled up if you don't get the biggest GCF to start with. So if you just get a common factor and not the biggest one, then you might have to do more work. All right, so that was just something that could happen to you. All right, number 5. This one does not have a number that's common. 2 will go into 6, but it will not go into 3. And so no number common, but you do have a variable for a GCF. So you have x in everything, so take the lowest. One big set of parentheses, you're missing a 2. And you have 3 x's, you need 3 more x's, because when you multiply, they add. And then this one will need a 6. We need 1 more x. And our last one needs a 3. It already has the x cubed. And you should check on all. I don't check here because I don't really have the room and I don't need to take up the time. But the check is good because it's fast and easy. Right. We will go ahead and do 6. All right, so you look for your GCF, and we'll test the 5. 5 does go into everything, so 5 is going to be the GCF for the number. This one does not have a variable that you can take outside because there is no variable with the last one, so it's not common. And so we have 5, we want 10, so we're missing a factor of 2. We need 8 x's. Right, the next one, we have the 5. But we're going to need the x to the 5th. And last one, you have 5, you want 25. So divide, you need a 5. And you would distribute back for your check. Okay, so only a number went out that time. If your leading term has a negative on it, you should choose a negative GCF. So this is our first one that has a negative GCF. That is just standard practice. If the first term is negative, choose a negative GCF. Normally we don't. All right, so we are going to choose a negative GCF. And we can't do 10. Let's see, we could do a 5. 5 goes into 10, so that's going to work. And we'll take an x cubed. All right, so that will be our GCF. And we'll make one big set of parentheses to get back there. For your first term, you have a negative 5, you want a negative 10. So you need to just divide if you get stuck. You have 3 x's, you want 6, so you need 3 more. Right. This one, you've already pulled the negative outside, so you're going to need to multiply by plus. Right. You have x cubed, you want x to the 4th, so you need just an x. We already have the 5. So we're good with it. We need an x. And this one we took the negative 5 outside, so we're going to need plus here. Now, we actually have taken everything outside. We have to have something here, though. So it is going to be a 1. That's the only thing you can multiply by negative 5x cubed and get back here to the original. All right, let's check that and see if that is what they said. Very good. It does not matter if you write the 1 in front of this x. It's better if you don't. It's a simpler form. All right. We started out with 8, 9, and 10. because those were just finding the GCF. So we will skip those and we'll see if there is anything different here. This does not look a lot different to me. So 64 plus 9z to the third. Okay, so you're looking for a GCF. You can't use a 6 because 6 won't go into 9, so you have to go lower. You could use a 3. 3 goes into both. So a 3 and a z cubed, lowest exponent on your variable, and divide it in to go back. So 3 into 6 will go 2 times. You have 3 z's, you need 1 more. Right, for your second term, 3 into 9 will go 3 times. And you already have the z. So, and you should distribute back to check. And there's our answer. You don't need to write that one for an exponent. Okay. All right. I'm going to skip and see if there is anything interesting that looks different. Maybe we'll do that one with 2 variables. So 15. We have 9x to the 5th, y to the 5th, plus 6x to the 4y 6, plus 3x cubed y to the 4th. So first thing is we'll look for the GCF. Test your lowest. Does 3 go into 6? Yes. Does 3 go into 9? Yes. So your GCF number is 3. For your variables, x is in everything, take the lowest, so x cubed. For your y's, y is in everything, take the lowest. So that is your GCF. One big set of parentheses. And to get back there, you're going to put the missing terms in. So first term, we have 3. We want to multiply and get a 9. We need a 3. Or you can do 9 divided by 3. Okay. For your variables, we have 3 x's. We want 5, so we need 2 more x's. We have 4 y's, but we want 5, so you need 1 more y. Next term, you have 3. You want to get a 6. Just divide it in. You need a 2. For the x's, you have 3. You want 4. You need 1 more. For the y's, you have 4. You want 6. You need 2 more. Right? And the last term, you have 3. That's what you want. You have x cubed. That's what you want. Y to the 4th. That's what you want. So this is a plus 1 because you have to write something there. And you can multiply it back to check. Just make a quick note. All right, I am going to skip. And go to problem 18. All right, so first kind of factoring is find the GCF and take it out. All right, the next kind that we have is a special kind, and it is for problems that have 4 terms, and this is called factoring by grouping. Right? And this one does not have a GCF in all the pieces. So what we're going to do is we're going to make 2 groups. And I would just split them in order and try that. That should work on most of them. Okay, and then you're just going to ignore half of it. So you're going to just work on this first group, and you're going to pick a GCF. All right, so there's no number, but we could pick an a squared. Right, and you need a parentheses. You're only going to get 2 terms in this parentheses. Okay, so for a cubed, we're missing an a. And for the second term, we're missing a -6. All right, we'll leave it right there. And now we're going to look at the other group. Okay, in the other group, we're looking for a GCF. Okay, there is a 9. 9 into 54 goes 6. So we can do a 9. Make your parentheses. All right, and so we're missing an A. And then 9 into 54 goes 6. And it was minus, so we need a minus there. All right. What you hoped for when you did that was to get what we call a common binomial. And then that will be the GCF for the whole problem. We did get one, so now it can come out. It is the GCF. And we just pick up the missing pieces. So for this one, we're missing a squared. For this one, we're missing plus 9. This is one that I would not do a check on because a check takes too much work. Check is good if it's fast and easy. It would be a FOIL. You know, you could do it if you want. I probably would not. Let's see if they have the right. It does not matter for the order of your parentheses there. Okay, so they would also count to what we did right. Okay, so I'll do that one. That one to me looks so weird with that C there. But maybe it's better to do it, so if it bothers you, it's okay. You have seen it. So CY minus 4C plus 3Y minus 12. Okay, and we're going to try factoring by grouping because we have 4 terms. So we'll make groups like this. In the first group, the C is the common piece. To get back there, one little set of parentheses. We're missing Y minus 4. In the other group, we're missing our GCF. That's what you do first, is 3. And to get back there, we are missing a Y and a minus 4. Now you're going to look at this whole thing and you hope you got a common binomial, which we did. So we have Y minus 4. To get back up there, we're missing C plus 3. So it's okay that I didn't have any number here. It worked out just fine. All right, number 20. This one has one little piece that's different for us. It is 4 terms, so we're going to try grouping. So we'll make our groups, and we'll try GCF. In the first group, you can take out a Y, and that leaves you an X plus 3. Right, now, when you do the next group, because it starts with a negative, you're going to choose a negative GCF. So we're going to take a negative. 9 does go into 27, so we'll take a 9. And that leaves us X. Now you have to be real careful here. You took out a negative 9, so this is going to leave you a positive 3. I always stop and double check if I take a negative out because it's too easy to mess that up. This would be negative 9x, that's good, and negative 27. So what I did is fine. Now we make sure we have a common binomial. We do. X plus 3, and it picks up Y minus 9. All right, and we'll look at that. Good. All right, let's see. We'll look at that one. That one's a mess. 21. Let's look to see if there's another one with a minus. All right. So, which one did I say? This one. This one, it has a common factor to begin with. So you should take that out, the GCF factoring. So we have negative 20w cubed plus 60w squared minus 12w squared. Okay, we'll go ahead and do it like grouping, but they couldn't put those together because they're like terms. All right, let's see if there is a GCF in the whole thing, because we have a ton of stuff here. There certainly is a W in everything. And for the numbers, take your lowest to test. Does 12 go into each one? It does not go into 20, so you're going to have to go lower than 12. All right, factors of 12. A 6 goes into 12. Which would work for these three, but not for 20, so we can't use it. A 4 goes into 12. 4 goes into 20, 4 goes into 60, 4 goes into 36. So it is going to be a 4. We can choose a negative 4, right, and we'll choose W to the first. All right, that is a GCF. So that leaves us 5W squared. All right, we took a negative out here. This is going to leave a negative 15. Just divide on your calculator, W. Right, this negative came out, so it's plus 4 into 12 will go 3 times, and 1W. And negative 4 into 36 will go a negative 9 times, and we have the W outside. Right, so I would probably double check there. Distribute back. Now we're going to try grouping on this other part. This GCF is just going to come down. So I made the arrow so I would not forget. And then I must have hit something. So we'll stretch it back out. Okay. Yeah, I definitely messed up my screen there. Let's see what I can do. So this will just come down. We're going to try grouping on this problem. Right, and so just in this group we can take a 5 and a W. And that leaves us W minus 3. And that's good. This one we can take a 3. And that leaves us W. 3 into 9 will go 3 times, minus 3. So this is going to work. We have a common binomial on W minus 3. Pick up these pieces outside. 5W plus 3. Now, don't forget that we need this common piece that was in the original problem. Just bring it down in front. And we'll have a look here. So negative 4W, and they've just switched these parentheses. So if you see something in all the pieces, go ahead and do a GCF first, and then continue. All right. That is going to happen on those. On this one, I thought we might look at 24 because I am not seeing any common factor there for a grouping. Right? So, if I make groups like this, I have nothing in this one that's common. I have something in the other one. We could probably do it that way. No, it's not going to get me back to a 50. It's not going to match. All right, so let's switch the order. Let's say if we switch the Q and the 10, because the Q would have something in common with this. So if we switched and we put the 10 here, and we're going to move the Q over here. All right, Now if we try grouping, in this one we can take out a 10, and that will leave us 5p plus 1. We took the whole 10 out. In this one, we can take a q, and that leaves us 1 plus 5p. All right, now we look for the common binomial, and these actually are the same. If they're addition and they're turned around, it's okay. You could have either order. So you can choose. It doesn't matter which one you write first. So we'll just write this one, but they're the same. If it was minus, they would not be the same. So 5p plus 1, and we pick up 10 plus q on the outside. So a couple of extra things on that were new. Number one, in the original, there was nothing common here. So it was a little weird. So I moved it around so I would get some common stuff in both. All right, and you're always allowed to do that. It's probably the last one where it starts, okay, to try that. The other thing is when I got my common binomial, the order is switched, which is fine. All right, and they picked the same order I had. Okay, so that is your first section. We've learned two methods of factoring. We have learned factoring by GCF and grouping. All right, so next we're going to work on what I call the nice trinomials. And this is actually probably the most common kind of questions you get is the trinomials. The monic trinomials. And they're going to have us do some little things to learn. And sorry, I didn't check these out ahead of time. What they're teaching us is what to look for when we do factor. And so we're going to find some combinations of numbers. So this first one says find two integers whose sum, so that means they add, is 8, whose is 6, and whose product is 8. So you're looking for two numbers. You really need to start with the product. Things that multiply to give 8, and they add, the same numbers add to give 6. All right, so you want things that multiply to give 8. So you have 1 times 8, you have 2 times 4, and then it's going to switch, and you have 4 times 2 or 8 times 1. Now, on this first kind of trinomials that we have, the monic trinomials, you're not going to need both orders. So we're just going to need one order, so we don't have to do these where they flip over. Okay. So this is the list we work out of. We are going to add to get 6. And that tells us which choice to choose. This is the one that adds to give 6. So 2 and 4 are your choices. This one adds to give 9. So our integers are 4 and 2. The order doesn't matter there. On these monic trinomials, if you put the different order of the numbers, all it's going to do is move the parentheses around. All right, so let's try another one. And this one, switch the words around. You really have to find the list that multiplies first before you find the sum. All right, so this one, same kind of question. We want two numbers whose product, so they're going to multiply to give 16, and their sum equals 10. So things that multiply to give 16. 1 times 16, 2 times 8, and 4 and 4. Those are the choices that multiply to give 16. We want to look through that list and find which ones add to give 10. So 2 plus 8 is going to add to give 10. So that is going to be our choice that would fit both conditions. So 2 and 8. So we're going to use those skills a little bit. All right, and they jump us right in then to trinomials. And these trinomials are really like a backwards FOIL. I'm going to pause a second, and you had this one in the other video, but we'll do it here. So this part is free, okay? If I had x squared plus 12x plus 20, all right? And they're telling us to factor. So I should have put up what I wanted. This is where we want to get, okay? So we are going to backtrack for a little bit and say, what if I had this? All right, so this would be a FOIL. And because parentheses side by side when we multiply. So x times x is x squared plus 2x outside plus 10x inside plus 20. And your outside and inside usually combine. All right, so that was multiplying. Now we want to go backwards. So now they're telling us factor. This is what we want to get. So we want to figure out how to get from here back to here. All right, to get the x squared, that one comes from these first two spots. So when you get this trinomial to factor, you can do your parentheses, all right? And this one is where the x's are going to split. So you're good. Now, I haven't looked through here to see about sign rules yet. Please make sure you watch the video under, in your course shell, it's on the left toolbar in the module folders, because you want to make sure you're good with sign rules, and I really emphasized that there. All right, your sign rules here are going to be like signs. You look at the last sign. If it's plus, your signs are alike. And that sends you back here, which tells you they're both going to be plus. You'll take whatever this one is. So we'll throw those in. Okay. Now, when you're looking at this, you're going to leave this piece because it takes 2 steps to get to the 12. To get to the 20, it came out of these two, and they multiplied to get 20. But 10 and 2 are not the only thing. So at this point, you're going to find out what multiplies to give me 20. Right? And so you could start with 1 times 20, 2 times 10, 3 doesn't work, and 4 times 5. That's the whole list. After that, it'll flip over. Okay? Now, because these are going to combine, and they'll add or subtract depending on your signs. These are like signs, so they're going to add to get here. We want to look and see through this list, how do I add to get back a 12? Well, it's going to be 10 and 2. So that was why we did those other little exercises to find the combination. Multiplies to give something and adds or subtracts to give something else. Okay? And if you do your sign rules right, it'll take care of that add and subtract. Okay, so that was just kind of how you figure out the factoring. Now let's do this real problem. It's the backwards FOIL is really what you're doing here. All right, so we have x squared plus 15x plus 54. All right, it is a trinomial. It does not have a GCF. So we go ahead to our parentheses, And then I would do sign rules, okay? Go look at your last sign. Last sign is plus, it says like signs. But you don't know, are they plus, plus, or minus, minus? Go back, this is what they'll be. So we've thrown those in. We're going to split those x's. And we're multiplying to get 54. So that's a little bit harder number. 1 times 54. We know a 2 goes in there, so you can get your calculator and do 54 divided by 2. You don't want to skip around. As you become more experienced, these will pop in your head, but if it doesn't, you want to make the list. Ugh, sorry. All right. Let me use the mouse. Okay, 2 times 27, 54. Does 3 go in there? 3 will go in there. The reason I know that is because 5 plus 4, if I add the digits, gives me 9, which is divisible by 3, so the whole thing is, but I still need to know how many times it goes. 54 divided by 3, 18. Okay, I don't think that 54 is divisible by 4. No, because we have a remainder. It is not divisible by 5 because it doesn't end in 0 or 5. And there is a 6. 9 times 6 pops in my head. All right. You would only need to try 2 more. 7 and 8. Because when you get to 9, that's flipping back over. Okay. And from the beginning, if 9 and 6 had popped in your head, multiplies to give this, as to give this, then you stop. You don't make the list. If it doesn't pop in your head immediately, it's probably not going to, so you make the list, because once you see it, you'll know. And 9 and 6 is going to be the right choice. We have the list. They have to add to give 15, right? And this is a good one to look at with these signs, because if we had 1 plus and 1 minus, 13 minus 3, 18 minus 3 would give us 15. So if we had different signs, then we would choose this one. But we have like signs, so we are going to choose 6 and 9. That adds to give 15 and multiplies to give 54. I would always do a tiny little check on these, right? Outside and inside. You are very careful about the first terms. You're very careful about the last terms, picking out this list. It's the middle where it's easy to mess up. So I would check that. So I have 9x, I'm multiplying there, plus 6x, I'm doing outside and inside. And that should give me 15x. It does, so we're good. I'm happy with it. I don't have to do a whole FOIL to check. All right, let's get this calculator out of the way. And this would be our answer. It does not matter if you move the whole parentheses around. All right, our next one, we have a different sign situation. It is a trinomial. There is no GCF. So it's going to go in 2 sets of parentheses, but this time our signs, you multiply to get this last one. So if we multiply to get a negative, we're going to have one of each, one positive and one negative. So I'm just going to throw those in, split the y's. Right now, you're going to multiply to get 48. So you make your list, 1 times 48, 2 times 24, so just divide on your calculator. 48 divided by 3, 3 does go in there, 16. 48 divided by 4, 4 does go in there, 12. 5 is not going to go because it doesn't end in 0 or 5. 6 goes, 6 times 8 is 48. 7 you could try, it's not going to go. And then the next one you get is 8 times 6. So that's the whole list. All right, when it ends in a negative here, you're going to subtract with these numbers. So you want to look at what subtracts to give you a 2. And it is going to be 8 and 6. Now, it's going to matter where you put these numbers, because you want to get back a -2. So you need this sign to go with the larger number. So -8 plus 6 is how they need to go in. So we have a 6 and an 8. Definitely you want this check here to make sure you have the signs right. So -8y plus 6y, and that gives a -2y. So we're good. We're happy with that. Right, number 5. So we have w squared minus 11w plus 18. All right, so a trinomial, do your parentheses. For your signs, do your signs next. If it ends in plus, they're going to be alike, but you don't know what, you have to go back. So plus takes 2 steps. This one will both be minus. So split your w's. We're multiplying to get 18, so 1 times 18, 2 times 9, 3 times 6, and I think that's the whole list. No 4, no 5, and then you'd have 6 again. All right. When you have like signs, whether they're negatives or positive, they're going to add. So we want to add to get 11. So it is going to be 9 and 2. Your check, minus 9w on the outside, minus 2w on the inside gives us minus 11w, which is good. That's what I wanted. Good. All right, the next one has an extra variable in it. So x squared plus 10xy plus 16y squared. Right? It is 3 terms though, so it's going to be a FOIL or backwards FOIL. Put those. Go ahead and do your signs. It ends in plus, so it says the signs are alike. Look back here, this is what they'll be. So they're both going to be plus. Right? We can split the x's. Right? And the extra piece we have to worry about is the y's. We're going to split the y's, but because it's at the end, it's going to go here and here. Now, this one we'll see if we pick it up when we do outside and inside. All right. Now let's worry about the numbers. So we have 16. So we're multiplying to get 16. So we have 1 times 16, 2 times 8, 3 doesn't work, 4 times 4. That's the whole list. Like signs, we want to add to get a 10. So a 2 and 8. All right. And I would probably do a whole FOIL here the first time just to make sure I get those extra variables. You always have that option. So we're going to do a FOIL check. Right? So first term's x times x is x squared. So we're good there. Outside plus 8xy. This is how you get the x and y together. Right? Inside plus 2, and I'm going to put those back in alphabetical order just so I can see them easily. And then last, 16y squared. Okay, outside and inside should go together. And we're good. That gets us back to the original. So I only did the whole FOIL because of the extra variable in there. Okay. Ugh, this next one looks nasty. My guess is that it has a GCF. And so I'm going to try that. All right, and we'll try for a 7. So we're going to have to see, does 7 go into 91? So 91 divided by 7. Yes, it does. 13. And 280 divided by 7 is 40. So we are going to be able to take out a GCF So we're doing the other kind of factoring first. So we'll take out a 7. We can't take a variable. All right, it'll be one set of parentheses. So y squared, this was 13 times that it goes, and this was 40. All right? But now you have to see if this trinomial will do more. It might not. If it does not, you would still have some factoring here. You would not say prime. All right, so this needs to come down with my answer. I'm going to put the arrow so I don't forget. All right, so my sign rules. Like signs, both plus. Split your y's. All right, for 40, we could do 1 times 40, 2 times 20, 3 doesn't go, 4 times 10, 5 times 8, that looks like the right choice. 6 doesn't go, 7 doesn't go, and then 8. All right, and we want to, and it's really important that you write this line. Don't try to jump from up here to down here because you want to think about 13, not 91. All right, and so 8 and 5 will add to give 13, so that is going to be our choice. And your 7 just needs to be here. All right, I would have checked in layers. I would have checked when I took the 7 out. Now I'm just going to check this piece to this trinomial. And there's not extra variables. I'm just going to check outside and inside. So 5y plus 8y is 13y, and I'm happy. But you do need to make sure that you bring that 7 down with your answer. Oh, it gave a hint. All right. But you wouldn't have had that answer key yet. Okay. I'm just doing that to save time for the typing. Okay. So 8 is another one like this. We can do it. Because these are really probably the hardest ones you're going to get. So 8x cubed minus 32, x squared plus 24x. All right, you definitely want to try GCF. You don't like this number here. Also, you see x in every one. So try a GCF first. All right, and 8 actually will go into everything. For your x's, take x to the first. Remember, this is one set of parentheses, and it's real important to write this line. All right, so inside here now we have the 8. We have 1x, so we need x squared. 8 into negative 32. We'll go negative 4 times. You have 1x, you want 2. 8 into 24. We'll go 3 times. You already have the x. All right, and now this we just need with our answer, so I'll put an arrow so I don't forget. This I'm going to try to factor. It might factor, it might not. And if something doesn't factor and has nothing else, it would be prime. All right, so this one would not be prime because it at least has a GCF. Like signs, both minus. Split the x's. You're multiplying to get 3. Nice number. Prime, one choice. Okay, does 1 and 3 add to give 4? Yes, it does. You can check. There's minus 3x on the outside. Minus 1x gives minus 4x, so we're good. Just make sure you put your 8x down there also. All right, so just don't try to jump from this line to the third line. It's too hard. Okay, the next one is a multiple choice. I'll skip that one. Let's do 10. Sometimes this bothers people when there is just an x in there. So x squared plus x minus 12. Right? Remember, the number in front of this x is a 1. So then you won't get stuck. All right? but it is a trinomial. It does not have a GCF, so we'll put these, we'll do our signs. This says do different signs. And split those x's, we're multiplying to get 12. So 1 times 12, 2 times 6, or 3 times 4. When they're different signs, we want them to subtract. So we're going to subtract to get a positive 1. 4 and 3 will work. Now you have to be careful and get the right one with the right sign. This sign needs to go with the bigger 1. So the plus needs to be with the 4 and the minus with the 3. We'll put them in and let's check. So just outside and inside for your check. Minus 3x, you're multiplying, plus 4x. Subtract sign of the larger gives a positive 1x. Write your 1 if you need to, but that's good. Just a little trick. Whenever you're going to combine to get 1x here, it's going to be numbers that are consecutive, so side by side. So 3 and 4 would have been the choice. I mean, we still check, but that's our choice. Okay, I'm going to skip 11 as a GCF of 5, and then you would keep going. That is just different signs, subtract. So plus and minus with your signs. I'm looking to see. Let's do 14. That one is not popping in my head. Now, I could be wrong. Actually, I am wrong. It does work. They did write the 1Z there to help you out. All right, and you would do your parentheses. You were going to do signs. You're going to have different signs. Split your Z's. Now, they're going to subtract to give a 1. That little trick I told you a few minutes ago says the numbers are going to be side by side to do that. And out of your list that gives 90, it's going to be 9 times 10. Right, and that might help you find them faster. If the right combination pops in your head, you can stop. You don't have to do the whole list. Otherwise, you do the list, okay? So we want a positive 1, so this sign, whatever this is, needs to go with the bigger number. So plus 10 minus 9. So the 10 needs to be here. The 9 needs to be with the minus. Check. Minus 9z plus 10z gives me 1z or z, which is good. Any question? Do you have a question, Fernando? Okay, I think you accidentally hit the unmute. Okay. All right, so I'm just going to go a little fast through these and look and see if I see something different than what we've done. I did not see one that, I was looking for one that might be prime. Let's go ahead and do 18. I will see if I can make you up one that's prime. So this is another one with 2 variables. No GCF. Do your parentheses. This says do different signs. Split the x's, and it has y at the end, so we're going to split the y's. All right, and we're multiplying to get 27. So 1 times 27, 2 doesn't work, 3 times 9, and that is the whole list. All right, they're going to subtract to give us 6. It's going to be 3 and 9. And you have to be careful which goes where. You want plus 6xy, so you need that sign with the bigger 1. So I'm going to need the 9 to be over here with the plus. All right, I will do a whole FOIL on this one. right? So x squared minus 3xy plus 9xy minus 27y squared, right? These will go together, so I have x squared plus 6xy minus 27y squared. And so that works. All right. I'm going to make you up one really quick that is not in your software, or if there is one, I didn't catch it as we went. All right, so this is an extra problem. It is going to say factor, and it is x squared plus 8x plus 5. All right, so it looks perfectly normal. If you try it, there's your parentheses. This says to do like signs, both plus. So we throw them in, split the x's. All right, now you're multiplying to get 5. 5 is a prime number. There is only one choice, 1 and 5. Can you get an 8 out of that? No, you cannot. And that's your only choice. So because we have looked at all the choices and we could not get an 8, we answer that this one is prime. That means it will not factor. So I don't know if this will pop up in one I didn't see. If not, you should know that. You should know if it won't do any factoring, then it's prime. That could also happen in the GCF section. If you're trying one for a GCF, there is nothing there, nothing else you can do, then the answer would be it's prime. All right, I'm going to stop there. Those are not hard sections, but a lot of work there. You need to make sure that you do those and stay right on track in this section. All right, you guys have an awesome day. I will try to finish up your test soon for you.